Hi, it's Leslie, and we're talking about Married at First Sight. It's a year later. We're wrapping this little thing up. We're wrapping it up. And one last time we get to hear from Michelle and David, and I just have to say, Michelle, freaking gorgeous. Did she have a glow up in that year? What? I don't know what it was, the color of the dress, but she is stunning. Stunning. David kind of reminds me like an average kind of Jason Momoa, not to the 10 of Jason Momoa, but just kind of like an average one of him. So, you know. Heard another apology from David, and before y'all come for me again, I get it. I'm a little gullible when it comes to David. I'm not saying he's a great guy. He's obviously a shit. He did what he did, and he was horrible to Alan. But all I was just trying to say was compared to Madison, I felt like, you know, if they were on trial and stuff, they always say, you know, before you convict him and sentence him and all this stuff, there was no freaking remorse from Madison. David at least felt bad for how things transpired. That's all I was trying to say. He's a shit too, but a much better shit than Madison. But anyway, I think they tried to twist this a little. You know, they said, you know, the whole thing about the text. The last time I'm going to talk about this freaking text. Anyway, whoever the MC guy, the guy talking, he's like, yeah, you wouldn't just send that, you know, you look so fine, I can't wait to eat you up. That's very different than, you look so fine, I just want to eat you up. I can't wait to eat you up implies like it's happened before, and they were kind of changing that on him. So I'm calling a little bullshit there, trying to make David look a little worse than he was, you know, but I do not think anything happened. I may be gullible when it comes to that part too. I really don't think anything physical happened. I do think the first kiss was in the stairwell, like he said.
When was the first time that you all even kissed?
A kiss was at the Juan's warehouse when I took her away and I kissed her downstairs. I pulled her away because her and Michelle were getting into it, and that was the first kiss.
And Michelle just, you know, she wants what she wants, and she's entitled. She wants a little more financially stable kind of guy, you know?
Did you hear numbers that scared you, or did you think about what it could become?
I heard numbers that scared me.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, I thought living at home, there would be different numbers.
Right.
Being honest, I think that would scare me too, because it is what it is. And whoever said that, Madison being 10 years younger, if it's not that important to you at that age, but once you start, you know, seeing like kids and the whole thing on the horizon, you want to have some money. Yeah. But anyway, enough of them. Enough of them. I'm over it. I'm over it. I'm over it. Anyway, guys, I just want to know, what are you guys watching? Because I do not know what to watch after this. I was so into this, so I may be taking a little siesta, a little whatever it is. I may be MIA for a bit unless I find some great show to tune into. So I want to know what you're watching. Put it in the comments. I got one show I'm thinking of. I don't know. But let me know what you're watching and what I should give my great insights to, which obviously a lot of people think suck. But here I am. Anyway, don't worry. I won't quit my day job. Yeah, not quitting it yet anyway. On to Juan and Carla. And I just have to say, Carla, I thought she was a bird brain. Dare I say, she was the best one out of the whole lot. I mean, she's still a bird brain and everything, but she's a nice, funny, confident, moral, awesome girl. I even like her wackadoo stuff. She, you know, just an upstanding kind of chick. But it just wasn't there. It wasn't there for Juan.
Even though she's very goal-oriented and she has a lot of really great, you know, things about her, you know, there was something that was missing. There was something that was off, and it had nothing to do with the physical appearance.
Yeah, it just wasn't there. Of course, you have to ask Carla, you know, what were you thinking? Did you think this little relationship had a chance? Yeah.
Did you feel that this connection could grow into something bigger? Did you feel ever that it was gonna go the distance?
No.
When did you know that it wasn't gonna work?
During the honeymoon?
Alrighty. But being the nice, awesome girl that she is, she was still open to receive Juan. Whatever that means. Whatever that means, but I think it meant something really nice. So props to Carla. You know, but Juan says he did care, and he showed he cared in some ways here.
Yeah, you know what, though? But at the same token, I showed that I cared by being loyal, faithful, honest, respectful. I didn't cheat on you.
Not so fast, he says.
Hold on, wait.
You know?
Juan, hold on for a second. You're naming the things that when you get married, you're supposed to do. Like, you're signing up. It's like, you don't get a hero's welcome for being loyal and faithful and all those things. When you marry someone, you go in and you say, hey, I'm marrying you, I'm your husband. So you do have to take that role.
I bet beg to differ, because you know what? We don't take these little items for granted here on Married at First Sight. You know, loyalty and kindness, it's not a given. It is not a given. It is a very freaking low-ass bar we are trying to achieve. But you know what? Juan achieved them. So I think he should be commended for that. Yes, Juan, you did an excellent job. Well, the one thing I could say is at least the men, usually women, I don't know what it is. They don't forget. They got a long memory, but the men can kind of like move on for some crazy reason. And they're all able to kind of like forget what David did to Alan, which was shitty. And Alan, you know, it helps that he's happy now because I guess he has a girlfriend and stuff, and he was playing the field. Oofa. But, yeah, they've all seemed to be able to, you know, move on from this nonsense and be friends. Not so much for the women. Don't see them all hanging out, though. Yeah. But it was shocking that Michelle owned up to some of what she did wrong, which I agree.
Well, I need to let my guard down. I have a huge wall up. I do have some trust issues.
Would you rewrite any of your experience?
Yes, I would change how I acted, but I will own up to that. I did push him away. I treated him. I was a little bit of a brat, a big brat, actually, in the beginning.
Good for you, Michelle, because I think she treated David like shit. We all had very short memory with that, but I remembered she treated him like shit. And this whole thing with MM and Ike, I mean, the one thing I'll give Ike is that he has lots of hats and lots of glasses, and he does coordinate. If you've noticed, he had the red glasses with the red hat. He had, I think it was like yellow or lime green. I think it was yellow, and the yellow hat. And now this time he is sporting like the blue with the blue hat. So I do believe that is why they all voted him the most fashionable. Yeah, not that there was a lot of stiff competition for that one, but you know what? He did get it. So there you go. Bottom line, I just wasn't feeling MM, you know? And I think, you know, in the normal world of things, if you're not feeling someone, you're given the luxury and the grace to just go, no thanks, I'll pass on a second date. You know what? In this nonsense, you don't, you know? So it's forced you into this pressure cooker. And it never would happen like this because you would never be stuck like this. So it just forced him to become extremely angry and MM to be angry, and it was a hot mess. Yeah. But MM did move on, and very quickly we saw that she got engaged to that other dude who seemed nice enough. You know, I was just kind of stunned with why so fast. That kind of made me whatever. But then I was happy to hear that they were just still engaged a year later. I was like, oh, that's good, because that means they're taking their time at least for the wedding. Get engaged quick, but at least take your time before you tie the knot. I mean, she's got to get the divorce, got to go through and all those things, but I'm sure that's done. But good for him. And I was liking him, except for all these little weird comments. Like, what does he have to prove? He just seemed like he's up there trying to prove something real hard.
We had a long night, a long fun night, as the producers would say.
I think I get that, okay?
Okay. But
We had a long fun night.
Okay, we don't care. I mean, we don't really care, and we don't need the visual. Thank you very much. Then he comes out with this one, which to me just completely killed any credibility I had for him. I don't know, this just seems like it's like a show. It's a show.
Pastor Cal?
Yeah.
I love MM. I would love for you to marry me and MM right now, today, sometime. I want to leave on a plane today saying I have a wife.
I tell you what, let's talk offline, because I got to talk to y'all before I do that.
What? Why would you want to take your beautiful, glorious, you know, sacred marriage and attach it to this Married at First Sight crap? And Pastor Cal, no less. Like, why would you want to, like, just poison it with this nonsense? Like, that just seems awful. Like, why? It's like he's just in it for the notoriety. I don't know. I just got a very bad vibe about him. I don't know why he's doing all this. That move just, like, turned my stomach. I was like, ew. You know, and MM just, like, eats it up. I think she's just desperate for the attention. She wants it. Any form. I was like, and even Pastor Cal was like, oh, I ain't gonna promise anything right now. I kind of like got to get to know you maybe a little before I give my, because I have this much morals and this much, you know, dignity and all the things. Way to go, Pastor Cal. So that was like a definite maybe from Pastor Cal. Not yes. And we did learn that MM had a miscarriage, which was sad. You know, I guess she's ready for baby time. I mean, okay. So that was sad. You know, you always have compassion for that. And then we had one last go around with Madison and David. And I was waiting for Dr. P, who's the one who called him out. I was like, you're lying. It started way before that. I'll never believe it wasn't physical. Like, you know, but she was like laying low and not just like bringing that all up because she said they were liars. David gives his hopefully final apology for all of this crap. And of course, they ask him one more time about this, you know, mysterious timeline. Did anything really physical happen before the thing? And David says this.
Can you honestly say it happened when we found out about it?
And secondly, I'd like to politely decline in regards to the timely manner. We spoke about it on stage with everyone else. We would just like to move forward with what we have right now because it is special.
Kind of weird because he's always, you know, denied it to this point that, you know, the first kiss was in the stairwell, nothing physical happened, it was just flirting and all the things. And now he kind of leaves this air of suspicion. I was like, did we really believe him? I did believe him that nothing physical happened, but I'm pretty gullible. But I don't know why he did that because it just kind of left it a little not final, but whatever. Dr. P, a bitter tongue, you know, and, you know, she's all pregnant over there, so she probably had pregnancy hormones raging, so she could have blasted him any second, but she was chill. She was chill. But that's a wrap. That's a wrap on the season. Kind of sad to see it end. Another, what would that be? 20%. 20%, that's about what they're hitting each year. Hitting about that 1 in 5. And I don't say much about Camille and Thomas because they're just two really nice people who found themselves. I mean, how boring is that? But anyway, I follow this nonsense every week. I don't know about this nonsense, but I'm going to follow some nonsense. If you can give me some ideas of what you're watching in the comments, I would so appreciate it. If not, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I will find something. If not, I'll see you when I see you. And I will talk to you later. Bye.